Grow Great is a city government leadership podcast with Lisa Norris and me, Randy Cantrell. Each week we share insights, experiences, and wisdom to help you and your leadership grow great. Our website is growgreat.com.
So have you ever gotten a project, a person, Randy, in your case, whatever it might be, and you just sit there for days and go, okay, okay, now what? And you just can't get off the ground. You're like, what now? Or your team comes to you and says, I don't know what we need to do. And so often it's just, you just have to take the first step. Like, I find so many people when they focus on a problem or a project or a task, if they're not moving, they're trying to make it perfect in their head. I think we've talked about this a little bit before. They're looking at step 99. How am I going to get to step 99?
What does that last step look like?
Yeah, what does the last step look like?
You haven't taken the first step. What are you worried about the last step?
Let's just take step 1 and then keep making greatness happen over time, right? The same, you and I, we're working on developing I call it Grow Me Grand 2.0. And our first, we've talked about, okay, what do we want to do? And then we narrow down to, first, let's just meet with the former participants. Let's just do that first. I don't have to develop the whole program right now.
Yeah, we want feedback.
Let's figure out what they want and what we need.
We can think all day long, and we're not the geniuses.
Yeah. Well, we aren't the ones who went through it. We taught it, but we didn't go through it to know, what does our team need? So as we did that, I love quotes, but if something feels too hard to start, it just means the first step isn't small enough. We don't have to know and prepare for the outcome and make the perfect program, project, whatever it is. I couldn't have implemented Workday going, okay, at the end of the day, I need this live. So how do I get live, right? I have to go back and go, well, the first thing we have to do is even figure out how we're going to start this. Let's meet on strategy. Let's meet on what's the first 2 steps in the plan? Okay, let's check those off. And then it naturally begins to lead you where you want to go as the conversations evolve, as the timing evolves, as you move through certain tasks. It starts becoming, the clarity grows. It gets stronger and stronger. And I think as we're talking to people, and when I've talked to my team, when they're stalled, it is always because they're trying to create something perfect day one. All the steps. And, you try to lay out, just let's lay out the basics and what now? What do we do next? What's the next one thing we need to work on? And it makes it so much easier when you break it down. I'm currently working with a consultant, and they were kind of doing the same thing. They're like, okay, we need to do this. And it's this great. And I said, well, let's just lay out the basic things first and back into it. Just lay out it doesn't have to be perfect. Just lay out the basic steps so we have something to react to when we meet with that team. I don't want to go in there just brainstorming this big, because there's not time. So just lay out the basic steps, and then we'll go to step 1 and explore that with them. So it's a very targeted conversation to get where we want to go. But at the end of the day, you don't want to come in so vague that there is nowhere to go. And you don't want to come in so strong that you feel I've planned out 99 steps and the first 2 steps are off. We can't even get off the ground. We spent 9 months planning for something. You just gotta, it's like a baby. You gotta crawl to walk, right? You gotta roll over first to get to crawling. Like, it's these little mini steps. That's all you need to get moving and get off the ground. It's always, and I've said it over and over, progress, not perfection. You just got to take 1 step at a time in order to get to the next step. And it's pretty simple.
Yeah, the 2 things that I keep coming up against with clients is, and it doesn't matter how we're wired, most all of us, there's very few exceptions I have seen in high performers, tend to be overthinkers. And my summation is, the overthinkers among us, my hand's in the air, also have self-awareness. that I find lacking in people that don't think something through enough, much less overthink it. So it's the Achilles heel of our superpower. If our superpower is self-awareness, then the Achilles heel is, okay, then you're probably going to be an overthinker.
Yeah.
You're going to run it 8 ways to Sunday, and that can impede people starting. Then there's also the control issue. I want to be in control of as much as I can. And I know it gets a bad rap with control freakishness and whatnot, but I think I look at it more positively than that. It's the belief that I can influence and affect the outcome. Not me by myself, but that I can affect my own life's. I'm not a victim of fate. I'm not a victim of anything. My life is my control, and it's my responsibility. And I think that's a rather positive thing. So I'm saying that because they come from a good place. The problem is combine those two things, and you've now got the desire to know all 99 steps, if there are 99 steps to success. I need to know what they all are because we've pre-thought it. We've got it all worked out in our mind how this is going to work out, and we're going to probably, if we're optimists like you and me, we're going to assume that it's going to work out swimmingly. Now, life has taught us that that's not true, but still we see the bright side of life. We're not looking for storm clouds and potholes, and we know they're there, and we can deal with those when they come up. And I don't know if it's so much breaking it down to something. I don't know if the step isn't small enough. The step is probably small enough. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's courage. I don't know if it's conviction. I don't know what it is to just get on with it. Just get on with it. Because once you're in motion, easier to stay in motion. When you're stationary, it's hard to get up off the couch.
Yeah. For me, it's so interesting because what I've seen happen is first, well, let me go back a tick. First, I agree with you. If you're an overthinker,
Good, because I'm right.
I know you are. Yes, just to confirm it,
No.
Dawn. Just to confirm it, Dawn always goes, I'm sorry, what did you say? Can you? And I'm like, you're right, Dawn.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've been wrong more times than I've been right. But when I'm right, I'm really good.
Yeah. No, it's so funny. So for those of us that overthink it, because you're right, you really can know the 99 steps. The challenge is you don't have to know it today.
That's right.
Right? I
That's
need to know steps 1 and 2 today.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to figure out steps 3 and 4. And at the end of a 2-year project that people are tired of hearing me talk about, I'm going to know the 99 steps it took. I just didn't know it on day 1 2 years ago.
Well, and even if you had known,
Right?
they would have changed. They wouldn't be the same 99 steps because things have changed.
Because I can't not step. I need to take the step to get to 99. So
Yeah.
let's just take the first one.
Yeah.
That's my point. And you're so right that I have been in so many conversations where I'm like, okay, so what do we need to do first? And they're like, well, if we do this, then we've got to, what's going to happen to this? And then we've got to go blah blah blah. And then when we get there, what about this? And they just
we're
go
crossing
down
all
this
kind of bridges
rabbit
that we're
hole.
probably never going to get to, as Mark Twain said.
No, they're just racing down rabbit hole in one conversation. And you're
Right.
like, hold on, hold please. I always say, hold please.
Uh-huh.
Hold please. What's the step we need to take today? Yes, although those things may happen, but today, how do we move forward today? And it's trying to refocus that energy and effort because everything is figure outable, but I don't have to figure it out today. I just need to figure out step 1 and 2 today. So I know a path forward. And then, okay, now we've got that scheduled. So now what? Now that's done. Let's have the next meeting. And then what are we going to do, from here to there? Or you can lay out this, okay, this is what I anticipate, milestones. These are the 5 things I think are going to happen in the project. And we'll figure out the little steps in between. That's fine too. But don't just not step because you're overthinking it so much you can't get started, because that will become evident quickly. And the team's going to get frustrated. The ones that are doers, they just want to go do. Help me know what do you need from me now? Right? That's what's critical. But I have seen even high performers and executive leaders down to the tactical frontline staff. We're all guilty of this at some point. We're trying to create this this path forward that's got all 99 steps documented so we feel like we have a path for the team. You don't need it. You need to know what we're getting done today and what's our ideal outcome. And we're going to navigate this together as we move through it. That doesn't mean you can't come in without a plan. You need to know what you're trying to achieve to back into where you start. But
well, you
at
know
the
me,
end of the day, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm fixated on the now what. I mean,
Yeah.
that 2-word question is my mantra and what I live by. I have found effective with a team to ask the question, what have we not done that needs to get done?
Right.
Right now, today, what is undone that we got to get done?
Yeah.
And I've never found a room that can't quickly come to some consensus with, well, we need to get this done. Okay,
Yeah.
we haven't gotten that done, so let's get that done. Well, there's your first. There's
Step
your first.
one.
There's
Step
yeah.
one.
There's your first step. I mean, it sounds so ridiculous.
It sounds so simple, but it's just, I don't know why it's not. It's just, you just
Because
gotta
we don't
step.
think about the right questions to ask is my conclusion. We don't, we're having conversations about questions that nobody's asking. And honestly, the room too many times isn't asking, they're not asking questions. And B, if they are, they're not really asking the right question. They're not getting right down to it. Mm-hmm. Well, we want to be smart and we want to look smart in front of the team. And I get it. But quite frankly, I mean, it boils down to, in many cases, what seems to be rather idiotically simple and straightforward. But that's the thing that we tend to miss, especially when we're starting something. I think I've told this group before the difference, sitting down with a CEO and explaining some problem. And I did it once, just, I don't know, it popped into my mind, and I asked him, what have you done that's worked? Have you done anything that's worked better than something else? Yeah. Okay. Well, do more of that.
Yeah.
That stuff that ain't working, quit doing that. Well, then I started kind of leveraging that, and it's amazing how something as ridiculously idiotic as that boils it down. And I find groups of people get in, and we're vetting all kinds of potential problems and pitfalls and roadblocks and obstacles, and we're fixating on those. Well, you and I both know enough. Okay, if that's the perspective that we're going in, guess what we're going to find? We're going to find roadblocks and obstacles and potholes, and
I can guarantee it.
Of course, because
it's just life and work.
Yeah, because that's what I'm fixated on. So if we can get the room to not fixate on those things, because those are all things that prevent us, in my experience, from starting.
Yeah. And they prevent progress because you're so worried about what will potentially happen negatively that you forget, well, let's just now what, to your point, now what, let's do this. And it's so interesting as we talk about this, because it's really, we get focused on like if you have 5 people in the room and you're having that kind of conversation, well, it's going to create this, and then we can't do this, or it's going to impact this, or I can't. It comes down to I can't.
Yeah, well, and the naysayers take over.
It's a focus on self. It's worried about what I'm going to do instead of focusing on the solution or the item we're trying to solve. And that's where you start having a breakdown, is people are so focused on how
this is going to negatively
impact them
affect
negatively instead of identifying the solution for the team that helps us move forward. They're trying to put a roadblock for negative impact when in fact, what are we trying to solve for? It's about the solution, not the problem. So let's take step 1 towards a solution, and then if there's a pitfall, now what? It just is now what? But so many people put up their hands, not physically, but you know what I'm saying? They're like, well, if we do that, then it's going to be this. And if you did, and I'm like, okay, I get it that there's going to be problems, but now what? What do we do to keep moving to the ideal outcome? What do we do? What now? What next? And you've got to refocus their efforts on positivity. And, you and I always talk about finding a yes. You can tell it's so easy to find a million ways to say, no, that won't work. That's easy. The negativity is so easy to produce. It's almost natural. But how can we work together to find the yes or a yes? If
Well,
it's
it
not
doesn't
the
mean
yes?
it doesn't mean it's a specific yes to the specific request, but
Just find a yes. You can find something
well,
positive.
but those of us that are bent toward customer service, that's the mantra that we live by. Not everybody does. Not everybody values customer service the way you and I do.
That's right.
But that's our background, and it's kind of our wiring.
And I'd say if you're constantly, for our listeners, if you're constantly stuck in, man, I feel like we're just not making progress on this, really start diving into and assessing and really watching the conversations that are taking place. Because at the end of the day, I can almost guarantee you the roadblocks are being thrown up that could happen instead of now what? What next? And focusing on taking the first step today that we need to move toward that outcome. We'll address the problems when they get there.
Thanks for watching and listening to Grow Great, the City Government Leadership Podcast. Our website is growgreat.com. For Lisa Norris, I'm Randy Cantrell. We hope you'll subscribe to the show, and we hope you'll tell a friend.